Aloha, everybody. So today I just wanted to talk story about the basis of fulfilling your faith and things that could help. I might not really go into the Bible, so it's not really going to be a religious type of talk. But what I wanted to do is just talk about when things like this happen, like a natural disaster, um, how to handle it without losing your faith, right? So what I'm using is everything that's pretty much going on in the world with the earthquakes, volcano, natural disasters, flooding, hail, people losing what they have built their entire lives to feel secure, gone. 12 hours gone, right? Devastating. And being that I was in Hurricane Harvey and went kind of through the same thing, when that happened here, I know the feeling, and it's one of the saddest things, devastating, losing hope, especially, and I was by myself with a dog and some friends. I can imagine how it is for an older family. um, and so what I wanted to talk about was fulfilling your faith, keeping it filled, and maybe using when a disaster happens to you personally, how to handle the effects of it that will strengthen you instead of knocking you down for too long. And so the what I wanted first to understand is emotion, the emotional concept behind it, because it's so much, right? Don't try to fight your emotions, but don't get defeated by your emotions. What I mean by don't try to fight them is if you feel sadness, feel it. If you want to cry because there's loss, cry. If you want to yell, and raise your hands to the sky, do it. Feel your heart. Because with that, there's more respect in being true and honest to your emotion than there is trying to fight it and living throughout a disaster at the beginning, the start, when it's raw of a disaster, in a lie. And so it's okay to feel your emotions like that. That's not negative. It's fighting your emotions that will be in the negative context. And then but if you keep down there in that true emotion of loss for too long, then you got balance. You went too far, yeah? And so you feel it in truth, and that will set you free in order to, when it's a little bit farther along in the future, to reassess in a different mindset that is more mature, right? And so that's the first part, is to be truth always to yourself. And when I say that also, I don't mean if you're angry, go out and kill people, okay? I mean, it's your personal growth. It's all you personally. If you want to blame something outside of yourself, go ahead and feel it. You can blame it, but remember, it's not anybody's fault. Does that make sense? And so do not lash out in violence. There's no reason for that. Yeah. Okay. And then the second thing is when things leave that are so material possessions, which is what we use in order to have a comfortable type of life in the world that we live in, right? When that's gone and you're just stripped of everything and you're left with yourself, if you haven't done that before, now might be a good time for you to start, as you have comforts around you, right? So with that is reflecting on your emotions. Starting today, in the smallest way, keep a journal of reflection. How do you feel? When's the last time you asked yourself that? How do you feel? Do you feel good about where you are? How'd you get there? And stuff like that. The more that you can feel that sense right now, when you're comfortable, when a situation that is devastating comes about, you'll know better how to cope with yourself and reflect faster. And not only that, but the feelings that you feel now in discomfort, and the ability to feel a little bit more in strength because things around you are uh, positive. It's a reflection of yourself outside of yourself. When it's gone, you can then get that reflection, which is the treasure that you have stored up in heaven, where moth and rust and floods and disasters and hurricanes cannot destroy, and where thieves cannot break in and steal. For where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. And so you will have your heart in the disaster. And this type of reflecting will help you make it through. Because, as you know, with the disasters, it can happen just out of nowhere. And not only that, but things have become more dramatic in a sense. We know what lightning storms are, but now there are lightning storms hitting at an unprecedented rate. Crazy looking lightning in the sky, yeah? So we've never been through a lightning storm. They say that the statistics about being eaten by a shark, is you'll get struck by lightning sooner than you'll get eaten by a shark, kind of thing. Well, no one's really been in a lightning storm, and so if there's going to be lightning the way that it's been happening, and if that spreads, then there's going to be there's going to be more lightning storms happening, and they're going to be more common, and then you'll see that statistic totally drop, and you're going to they'll realize, oh wow, everyone can get hit by lightning, like really crazy, right? And something you can't control, like we don't know it, it's unprecedented, right? And like the hail, we've all been in hail, and if you haven't, it's just not really a big deal. There's like ice falling, but it's like small. But now they have hail the size of softballs, golf balls, like, bigger and heavier, and they've been killing animals, smashing windows, completely devastating houses, the outside. And so we've never been through something like that. When something like that happens, it is a disaster, And so that's what I'm saying. It will happen. It could happen really fast, and the next day you have nothing, right? How are you going to cope? You're going to have to rely on the treasures that you're storing up now in the reflections. And so that is going to be a very good emotional state for you to start practicing now, so that when and if, I should say if, something happens to you and your family, you will be strong. The last thing in an unprecedented situation is that it's never happened to anybody, so nobody has a clue of how to handle it, right? Unless you have that inner strength, and which can be used in any type of disaster. In that sense, since you're going to be the one in the disaster, and through it and the aftermath, you will also be a beacon of strength for those around who have not reflected on their emotions right now and have not affirmed about what their true strength is and how they're going to react in a situation like this. So you'll be able to help your friends and help your family and help your neighbor. And in a situation like that, that's when everyone really needs to help each other. The fact that there's some towns right now going through it and they're being completely devastated and it's been unprecedented, and they may not have done this already, and there may not be anybody in this whole entire group of towns of people who have that. So that if everyone, 100% of people are in sorrow, how hard is it going to be to find some comfort? And not only that, if it's online and then you're not being comforting throughout the world, you're either telling them to move on too fast, you're either saying that I'm going to cry with you, which is not really going to help, even though it's the pathetic part of empathetic. And then don't store up for yourselves treasures on earth. Like, it's too soon for that. They already know that, I believe.